everyone, blessings and welcome. Welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to be discussing your biggest problem in life, or what I perceive to be many people's biggest problem in life. And I'm going to include myself in that group, or in the group, because I'm not exempt. But before we get into our topic of discussion, subscribe to this channel, also share this video, like this video. Also engage, feel free to drop a comment. I do read them. Thank you for all of your support of this channel. Now let's get into our topic of your biggest problem in life. I believe that there are many people who are suffering and going through many changes in life because they have the mindset and they believe that the less problems that they have in life, the happier they'll be. That is true to some degree. But I don't think that thinking and that mindset is really rooted and grounded in reality, because the truth of the matter is, as we live our lives and go through this journey, we're going to see some problems, and for some of us, our fair share of problems. So we can't believe that the less problems that we have, the happier that we'll be, because there's always going to be something. I had an elder woman tell me, and she gave me some good advice. She said, there's always going to be something in life. And if there's not something happening, it means you're dead. So that's some interesting advice. It's actually very true advice. There's always going to be something in life. Always. So knowing that there's always going to be something, we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for what's to come. And we can't always control what happens. And actually, I think to some degree, control is sort of like an illusion, right? There are actually many things that we can't control. But there's one thing, or maybe a couple of things that we can control. One of the main things we can control is our attitude. And I think our attitude is really a big source of many people's pain and suffering when they go through problems. So oftentimes, our problem is not really the true source of our pain and suffering. Yeah, it is a cause of much of it, but for many of us, our issue is our attitude toward the problem. Our issue is our attitude toward the situation. Our issue is our attitude toward the individual. Our issue is the attitude toward the world. So I think as we make the proper adjustments to our attitude, because guess what? Problems are going to come. Even Jesus said it in the Gospels, the Gospel of St. John, chapter 16, verse 33. He tells the disciples, and he's also telling us today, that in this world, paraphrasing, we're going to have many troubles, but he has overcome the world. So he was empowering the disciples, and he's empowering us today, knowing that we have the power to overcome the world. But even with that power, we have to have the right attitude. Even with that power, we have to change our mindset when we see problems happening. Oftentimes, we give too much power to the problem. And it's tough, especially when we're dealing with situations where we don't have any control over. And that makes us feel powerless, and that makes us feel helpless, and we just lash out, right? And we obsess over the situation, and we try to figure out things, a way out, without reflecting. Many people tend to be very reactionary. We react to many things, and we just want to go out and, something happens and we just want to react. We want to say something, we want to do something. And I think one great strategy that we can use is to take a quick pause and to see and to reflect, okay, this has just happened to me. I just got this diagnosis. I just was fired. I'm having this problem in my relationship with my spouse. My children are out of control. I'm struggling financially. I'm having difficulty keeping up with things. Whatever your issue is, whatever your problem is, we need to stop, we need to reflect, and we need to make the proper adjustment to our attitude, because we're going to be going through things in life, and there are problems that are going to arise that we cannot control, but we can control how we react to the problems, and we can control our attitude. So that means we have to make the proper adjustment in order to be happy, right? I've known people who have been diagnosed with cancer and with other chronic illnesses, and they still have joy. And although they got that bad report medically, they will not allow a disease, an illness, a diagnosis to dictate how they feel. They wouldn't let the cancer rob them of their joy or living the best life that they could live under those circumstances. Where I have known people who have been diagnosed with cancer and other illnesses and other diseases that, and some that are incurable, and because of their attitude, miserable. Because of their attitude, it actually, I believe, maybe sent them to an earlier grave or gave them less time on this earth, less time with their family. So it's really about the attitude that we maintain and that we have as we go through this, as we go through life and go through this journey. Another problem that we have is that we think, especially when dealing with individuals and individuals who are difficult, individuals who may even be evil or wicked or behave in that way, we try to change people or we obsess over their behavior. We need to know that we can't change people. We can't change people. People change when they want to change, or if they're going to change, they're going to do it in their own way and in their own time, right? We also have to know that there's some people that's never going to change. So that's like a useless exercise in the mind, trying to obsess over whether or not somebody's going to change or try to get them to change. Don't do that. It's not a good strategy, right? But what we can change is our attitude toward them, knowing, hey, this person is behaving like a devil. So what I expect from this person is devilish behavior unless they decide to change. So you can make your adjustments around that if you have, especially if it's someone that you have to deal with, right? Even if it's a circumstance, hey, this circumstance is challenging. It might not change for a while. I'm believing and trusting in God for it. Hey, it could be maybe you lost your job. I lost my job, but, I have to have the right mindset and attitude to make the right adjustments. Hey, I can go get another one. Okay, this was devastating, but I have to move on, right? Your relationship ended. Yes, it crushed me, but I have to move on. You have to grab that power from God on high and overcome it, but you can't overcome it with a bad attitude, right? And this just doesn't apply to our problems. It's even when we get blessed, we have to have the right attitude, right? Or even when things are going well, right? I know rich and wealthy people who are completely miserable. Once again, it goes back to the attitude. They don't have the right attitude. They're not looking at what they have, right? They're looking at the problem. So you can be blessed with a whole lot and still be miserable. So having certain things and having, not having certain problems that other people have will not necessarily make you a happier person, right? I don't have a great deal, monetarily, but, I am grateful for good health. I am grateful, for the things that I do have. I have a roof over my head. I'm not eating out of a garbage can. I'm not sleeping under a bridge, but some people are. But, I'm grateful that I'm not. So you have to be grateful for the things that you do have, because guess what? God will bless you with more when you are grateful, but it all boils down to your attitude. So if you're in a good position in life, but you're constantly complaining and you don't have a good attitude and you're not happy for what you already have, how is God going to bless you with more? How is that going to bring you happiness in your life? So just know, as we go through life, one of the few things we can control is our attitude. And when problems do arise, we have to make that adjustment to our attitude, right? So if you are having a tough time at work or, with a family member, and that problem is there, you're going to have to adjust your attitude and not allow the situation or the person to take your joy away. You have to do the inner work. If you're having a problem in your life, you have to think, what is my contribution to my problem, right? It's real easy. We're very reactionary. We easily point the other finger at other people or at the situation. Oh, it's the world, it's the government, it's that person, right? But we don't think that we have a part in our own problems, and oftentimes we do. So it's important to do that reflection and to think and to take that pause and to, say to yourself, do I have any responsibility in the problem that I am going through right now? Am I suffering because of my own behavior, because of my own mistakes or my own short-sightedness, right? Am I suffering because of my attitude? Maybe I'm part of the problem that's causing the problem in my life, right? Maybe I'm the problem. What's my contribution to why my relationship is deteriorating, right? And why I'm not getting along with my significant other, or why, I'm having a tough time with my kids or having a tough time at work, right? So we have to also look at ourselves and, figure out, does my attitude and my thinking need to change? And what problem, so this is why it's good for us to pray and to pray to God, not just to take the problem or the issue away, right? But for us to pray to God and ask Him to reveal to us the things that we need to change within ourselves and the things that we need to do to make our lives better and to solve the problem or to help us through the situation that we're going through, right? So we know as believers, if you're a believer watching this, if you're not, you should become one. But as believers, Jesus told us that we have the power, that He's given us the power to overcome the world. Adjust your attitude. Know that as you go through whatever the situation that you're going through, know that the power of God is with you, and you have to believe that. So as you adjust your attitude and as you align with the power of God and with the connection to God, then you'll begin to overcome the issues that arise in your life. So just know that as you adjust your attitude, you also have to have a strong connection to God, because the weaker your connection is to God, the less likely you'll be to overcome your issue, right? You see people in your life, you ever find people in your life, they seem like they're just going through a loop. Every time you talk to them, they talk about the same thing over and over again that they're going through. They haven't overcome it. But you have to connect yourself. We have to connect ourselves to God and make sure that connection is strong so we can get that power to overcome the situations and, the trials and the troubles that we're going through. In addition to adjusting our attitude to the trouble. So I just wanted to quickly just get on here and encourage you all, and to know that our problem is not always our problem. Our problem is oftentimes our attitude toward it. And as we fix our attitude and get a better attitude toward whatever we're going through, we'll be happier. I think the happy people are the people who have good attitudes in life. The happy people are the people, not necessarily with the least amount of problems. The happy people are the people who adjust appropriately and look at the positive things and look at what they can do to help their situation, as opposed to magnifying what they can'ts and magnifying the problem and magnifying the issue and magnifying the troubled people and magnifying the trouble. So make sure also in closing that you live an intentional life, knowing that there's always going to be something, that there's always going to be a problem. We prepare ourselves by praying to God, asking the Lord for guidance and wisdom and patience, and asking God for the power that when these things do come up, that you'll be strong enough to withstand it. So live intentionally, knowing that, hey, listen, if you are not prepared to adjust and prepared to adjust to change, you are going to suffer. Because if you just go through life and you're not living intentionally, and you go through life and you just letting life happen to you, you're not going to be a happy person, and you're going to go through a lot of trouble and a lot of things. But just know that God is with you. just know that you're not on this journey alone. Just know that God will help you even with your attitude, and because he is helping me. So if he can help me and he's helping me, I know that he can help you. So that's all that I wanted to share with you in this video. Take care, God bless, and I will see you in the next one.